Yeah, I'm a lawyer. Or at least I practice the law. I'm not an attorney.
Okay, so he says, I'm a lawyer. Well, at least I practice the law. I'm not an attorney. That's a lot of words to say. I'm not a lawyer and I don't practice the law. But okay.
There is a difference, just so you guys know. And I want a little friendly reminder to please subscribe to my channel. It definitely helps me out and it benefits the viewers. And I must say, water is the essence of life. You guys need it. It's beneficial, it helps the body, and it keeps you healthy. I haven't been drinking soda now for about 3 years. It has been a great step into being a healthy, productive, more efficient person in society.
Good advice? Drink water? This isn't satire, is it? It feels a little bit satire-y. It might be satire. Hold on. Yeah, look at sovereign citizens in court thing. Makes me think this is a satire. I'm gonna watch it anyway, though.
With all that sugar weighing you down, slowing you down, and work out and fit.
Thought it might go
great.
to water filter advertisement like Alex
And
Jones.
Seasons, they come and go. But there is one thing for sure. I will never change. And today I'm going to be discussing a lot of things that are beneficial.
Maybe not, though, because it does say, I'll be displaying step-by-step instructions how to be your own litigator inside any courtroom, prepare motions, how to beat traffic tickets. This guy cannot be real, right?
Man, here you go, okay? This is Blackboard. If anybody knows what Blackboard is, you fucking know that it's for students, for school, for classes, to basically, keep track of your grades, your emails, your updates in your courses, anything that the teachers may be updating you on in the classes.
Is this an ad?
People are just really fucking, retarded, and, I literally, I guess, have to prove myself on this YouTube channel. I don't know why. I don't feel like I have to, but, just for the ones that actually want to know if I'm in school or not, this is the proof right here, okay?
Okay, I don't think. Maybe it's not satire.
Okay.
Here he is in a store in November, not wearing a mask.
Let's have some fun. Yep. I enjoy having fun.
Yeah, the R slur thing makes me think not satire, for sure.
And I enjoy the incompetence of these people. Because they're stupid, and they really think Joe Biden will actually still be in office.
He's a conspiracy theorist, too. Beautiful.
Hey, how do you feel about the election?
How do I feel about the election?
Yeah, how do you feel about it?
How do you feel about it?
It's a joke.
Why?
Because voter fraud happened. Joe Biden shouldn't have won. Trump
sorry.
is challenging him,
Yeah.
and he will be in office in 2020.
Well, that's your opinion.
It's a fact.
That's your opinion.
You should look up the news and watch what's really happening.
Thanks.
They're challenging in court right now.
I'm a Democrat. That's your opinion.
I'm Republican.
That's your opinion.
I'm conservative. I'm a real American.
I appreciate you. That's okay.
If you're a Democrat, I feel sorry for you.
If it's satire, it's the most straight-faced, it's not embellished. He's just literally acting like this kind of person acts. So, I'm on the fence, but I'm gonna err on the side of I think he's real. Who knows, though? Inkheart, thank you for following, and Edlid with 20 bits says, well, he was right. Trump was president in 2020. True. I'm glad it's 2021.
Official to you that a lot of people may not know about. And I really, really need to get this information.
You know what I appreciate? The ascot. I was thinking maybe it was a mask, and maybe it is, but to me, it's kind of looking like an ascot, okay? Kind of looking like Fred from Scooby-Doo. I can respect that look. It's a power move.
Out there because it benefits me a lot. And I also want to give you guys a reminder that this is not legal advice or tax advice. I'm not an attorney, although I do practice law.
That doesn't mean anything! That doesn't mean anything! I can go and file bullshit with the court, but that's not impressive. If I file a bunch of bullshit nonsense with the court and then I go, I practice law, it means nothing. It means nothing.
This video is made for your own judgment, to make your own judgments on any process or procedures out there in the corporate world. Okay? What I'm going to discuss today is the birth certificate. We all know what that is. But do we actually know what it's used for? The meaning behind it? I don't think so. When you're born, your parents apply for a certification.
I feel like I'm in my public speaking 101 class back in college. It's good to have notes. It's good to have notes. I'll take notes occasionally, and I'll sort of crib off them to try and take a look at, what things... Ooh, my mini feed is... There we go. It fixed. It's good to have notes, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been doing this for so long and I'm able to just bullshit for hours. But I feel like if I was constantly... And sometimes I do look down, I know, because I'm looking at the chat on my phone when it's not on the screen. But, I'm not, Alright, so today we're going to talk about sovereign citizens. Do you want to know about sovereign citizens? These are people that believe they are above the law. That's not entertaining to listen to. No one wants to hear that. Iterate, thanks for following. Staying quiet now with 20 bits. Here's some great satire, although it sounds super real. Trump's letter canceling his Costco membership. We can read that later.
For citizenship, which basically amounts to a part of debt with the United States, which is a corporation.
Let's back that up real quick.
For citizenship, or your parents apply for a certification for citizenship, which basically amounts to a part of debt with the United States, which is a corporation.
Okay, let's reverse engineer this from the outset. First of all, the United States is not a corporation in the sense that he is talking about. It is not a private, for-profit, or non-profit corporation. It is a government. It is a federal government for the United States. It's a completely different thing. It operates very differently than a business. Birth certificates. Birth certificates are literally that. They are certificates of your birth. It is saying, such and such was born on this date in this hospital to these people. This is their name. This is their gender assigned at birth. This is yada, 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 yada. That's what it is. It's a record for the government. It's just a record to keep track of citizens, to say, oh, how many citizens do we have, living in our city? How many people were born in this year in our city? How many people were born in this state, in this city? It's also for official documentation for yourself. If you need to prove who you are, that can be a piece of identification. I know back in the day, when I was, first getting a job, I needed a couple pieces of ID. I took, and I think this was even before I had a driver's license, so this was quite a while ago. This is when I was, a teenager and had a job at, a McDonald's. I think I ended up using, my birth certificate and my social security card. That's fine. It's just another piece of identification, and it's used for municipal, state, and federal purposes for identifying people, information about them, place of birth, stuff like that. It's not a debt of any sort. Do I not have 2 monitors for my PC? No, I need one so I can constantly have chat, like, up here or something. What I do is when I'm actually controlling YouTube, I just have the YouTube screen up. But when I'm not controlling YouTube, I pull up the Streamlabs window in and of itself, and then I can see the chat there while also looking at what you guys are seeing. All this. It's a pain in the ass. I really, really need to get a new monitor at some point, just a tertiary one. I guess it wouldn't be tertiary. Tertiary means third. I don't have a second. I would need a secondary monitor.
Your full-time job is receiving money for exchange because you're exchanging your labor for monetary gain or for private property.
Wait, what?
Monetary gain because your full-time job is receiving money for exchange because you're exchanging your labor for monetary gain.
Yes, that's how labor works under capitalism. You have time and abilities, and then you sell said time and abilities to a private entity or a public entity if you're like a government employee, but typically a private entity, and you sell that to them for money. That's your labor. Your labor is worth money that you're being paid for said labor. That's how a job under capitalism works. Staying quiet now with 20 bits. Do you have a P.O. box? Yes, there's someone already put the thing in the chat.
Or for private property, or for services or equal value to anything that you may purchase. Private property, just so you guys understand that, is not taxable. And you guys...
Oh, that's not true. Private property isn't taxable? That's objectively untrue. Your home, I pay taxes on my house. I pay property tax. What? You can't pay taxes on private property. You absolutely do. What? Like, if I go to the store and I buy this gavel on Amazon, there's a sales tax applied. Even though I'm buying this as private property, there's a tax applied to this. What are you talking about? Hi, kitty. Come on up. Bitter old-ass broad with 100 bits, so my Q-level clearance is supported by a corporation. Is life even real?
Guys, the people, the human beings, are private property.
Human beings are not private property. Human beings aren't property at all under the 13th Amendment, unless you're in prison. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. But provided you're not in prison, no, human beings are not considered property. Sorry.
But the corporations don't see you like that. They see you as an asset, an entity.
Your labor is an asset to your employer. He is selling, or she is buying your labor from you to make their business operate. It's effectively a commodity. But that doesn't mean you are property. It means you are providing a service to them for pay, which is your job, whatever it happens to be.
In other words, a corporate entity, and they benefit off you. What's interesting is when you look up the law definition of the word income, it's considered capital gain from investments. Only corporations can obtain this.
What? No, they can't. I'll explain that in a second. What about Bob with $10 says money for a new monitor? Thank you. No, not only companies can benefit from capital gains. For instance, do I want to show you guys this? Let me see what I'm up today. Okay. So I invest, okay? In stonks. All right? So without here's my stonks, okay? Now this today I'm up 0.81%, okay? This week, I'm up 11% in my stonks, okay? That 11% gain, let's say I went and I sold money, or I sold money. Imagine I sold some of those stocks and made a profit. I hold on to them, though. I'm not a day trader. I'm actually trying to, long some of these stocks. Not relevant. Anyway, the point is this. If I sold those for a profit, those would be capital gains. Capital gains is just money you make on investing. Capital gains. You're gaining from spending your capital in investments, which will then either go up or down. Capital gains.
If a judge ever asked you, do you earn any income? You were supposed to say no. Because
no, you're not supposed to lie to a judge.
you're not a corporation. You're a human living being. You're a person. And only corporations can do business with corporations. Yeah, I had to write this stuff down. It's really hard to remember all this, honestly. The application that was made, there's an application they make. The application is for the live birth certificate. It's issued from the applicant, and the birth certificate is basically a certificate saying that there was an application originally being processed, or has been processed. The U.S. keeps the original copy, and they give you the copy. They keep the original, and they give you the copy, excuse me.
Sure.
This certificate was also known as a foreign cities trust. A trust.
Foreign Cities Trust. Let's look that up. Foreign Cities Trust. I don't see anything specifically called a Foreign Cities Trust, so this might just be a sovereign citizen bullshit phrase that means nothing in the real world.
Account.
Kitty, no.
The
She's
problem
munching
is,
on the wire for the microphone.
when
Don't
you
do that.
are born, you're announcing that you will work for this corporation. But the company, unfortunately, back in 1933, couldn't pay back any of the loans.
Oh, is this another person who thinks the United States went bankrupt and then became a corporation because the Fed exists?
That they promised. And the U.S. went bankrupt.
Ow. That's a bad place to scratch. Please don't do that. Ow. She was batting at the headphone that's not in my head, and it fell on my lap, and she dug her claws into my thigh, and that hurt a lot. Yo&80 with 20 bits, take a shot every time he says the same word in one sentence to make himself sound more official. The birth certificate of certification.
In 1933. I mean, we all know, right? You know history. You should know that the bank stopped accepting currency for gold. Doesn't happen anymore. It's labor for currency, labor for cash money.
Yes, welcome to capitalism. That's how it works. If you don't like it, then you need to work to change the economic system under which we toil. The littlest Dean with 20 bits. Has this guy even been in any street fights? I don't think I can trust someone who hasn't been in at least 73 street fights. Is this Marcel secretly? Trans Queen of Salt with 200 bits. Kitty Overlord demands attention. Your life belongs to your cat now. Now, my life has belonged to her since we got her.
You're exchanging your labor for monetary gain. That's how this new system works.
Veer Booten, thanks for subscribing.
You are basically the company's slave, essentially.
Based.
That's what you want to call it. I call it that. Slaves.
Typically,
You're
that
basically
would be
being used
referred
as
to
an
as...
asset.
It's like this guy has just figured out that perhaps the system that we have is exploitative towards workers, but he hasn't actually looked up any of the things in regard to this. So, like, he doesn't know the word wage slave, so he just doesn't use it? It's very strange.
Because you make so much money in your life, and they are allowed to use this information to gain loans for your future taxes or future income, claiming that you're going to make X amount of dollars throughout your lifetime.
Ah, there we go. There's the bullshit. Okay, so his... Ooh, I gotta tighten this. So his claim is that the government is going out and getting loans from potentially, I guess, foreign governments like China. That's usually the scaremonger country that they use for stuff like this. So they're saying they go to China and say, hey, by the way, here's the collateral for our loan, and it's going to be the labor of our citizens. What he's saying might have a grain of truth in the sense that the full faith and credit of the United States, as is, you know, sort of the backing for loans taken from foreign governments, is tied into sort of GDP and the confidence that the United States will continue to be a productive economy. But they aren't literally saying, hey, China, we need $7 trillion. Here's a list of, 100,000 specific United States citizens and our projected income that they're going to make for the rest of their lives. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm sure when countries look at the United States and decide to give loans, like you would for anyone, I would imagine they look at the current financial situation with the United States, including its citizens in general, and make determinations on terms for said loans. Like if the U.S. was particularly strapped for cash and not really in a position to negotiate, presumably the rates on the loan would be higher, but it doesn't involve collateralizing you as a citizen in the way that's being described. That's not how it works.
And that's how they obtain loans. On your name, your birth certificate, you're an asset. You're a trust account. You're someone that is...
There is no such thing as the trust account. That's a sovereign citizen thing. Sovereign citizens believe, strangely, that every U.S. citizen, when they're born, gets like a bank account that's a trust somewhere with $2 million in it. It's bullshit, obviously.
In debt all your life because they take money out under your name, under your birth certificate, trust account, and they pay it back through you when you make money and give back taxes. This is also known as the International Monetary Fund. The bankers gave
the IMF? Oh no, 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 no. Oh God. Wait, I gotta go back.
And they pay it back through you when you make money and give back taxes. This is also known as the International Monetary Fund.
Okay, that's not what the IMF is. Oh God. Okay. The International Monetary Fund, I believe, is a program of the UN or a similar global outreach program that a lot of countries give money to. It's a financial institution that, oh boy, they basically take money in and then use it for philanthropic purposes or for directing certain things, right? Consisting of 190 countries. I'll just read the Wikipedia because it'll be better explaining it than I will. Consisting of 190 countries working to foster global monetary cooperation, secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth, and reduce poverty around the world while periodically depending on the World Bank for its resources. The World Bank, of course, being part of the UN. So, the idea here is that they promote different strategic uses of money from various world governments to inject cash where they feel it is necessary to improve people's lives. For instance, right now the IMF is working on helping, with, of course, the cooperation of other governments, working on helping distribute vaccines and stuff where they need to be, right? It's not some secret cabal organization that's doing evil things, although, you know, like any non-profit, whatever, I'm sure there's some shady shit going on. But, like, it's just a thing that they take their money and they invest it into different stuff around the world. Has nothing to do with sovereign citizen stuff.
The bankers gave the company a credit on your application for an amount that company owed the bankers, and at the time it is said that your birth certificate was worth $1 to $3 million.
I don't know where they get these numbers, but they're complete nonsense. Your birth certificate isn't worth any money.
This is around the time when all of the...
At least not in the way they're saying. I guess some forger or something might want it. You know, to use it to forge other ones, or like to remove your name and put someone else's name on it. But it's not like worth money in terms of like, this stands in for collateral. It's not a bond for your life work value. It's just a piece of paper with information about you on it. It's a government document.
This started happening, okay? I mean, there's no telling how much it's worth now. A lot more than $1 to $3 million. This is the money of account transaction credit, banking, lending, okay? The applicant is really the instrument. The birth certificate is proof that the application was submitted, and they use it as a negotiable instrument when they do deals. So, to say the least, it's a trust account. And let's say that your account is worth $1 million. You can gain access to that account.
No, you can't. It doesn't exist. And even if you could, it would be devastating. Do you know what happens if everyone has $2 million? Then no one has $2 million. They might physically have $2 million, but all of a sudden that money means nothing. You can't just give everyone $2 million under capitalism and have that work, right? If you're going to try and flatten the distribution of wealth and make it not so disparate between the people who are at the bottom of the like societal monetary hierarchy and your Jeff Bezoses and Elon Musks. You can try and flatten that, but you can't just keep the system exactly how it is and then just hand a bunch of people $2 million and expect that to fix the problem, because it won't, because presumably you've just printed that money out of nowhere, and you've increased inflation to a ridiculous extent. You can't do that. If everyone has $2 million, no one has $2 million, because it'll be worthless.
By simply filing a UCC1 application, okay? Your birth certificate has unlimited credit. You are basically a slave to the company. What does a bank do when you purchase a car loan?
They give them, if you're approved for a car loan, they pay for the car up front to the dealership or whoever you're buying the car from. Then they give you, at least in Michigan. Michigan is a state where you can hold on to the title to the car, even though your name isn't necessarily on it. You're the person who the car's, you know, the owner of, but you're paying it off to the bank. Anyway, I can hold on to that because it's Michigan and that's the law. Meanwhile, I owe the bank. It's still the bank's car. They're just letting me drive it until I pay it off, in which case it'll be officially my private property and I can do whatever I want with it. Like right now, I have I think 2 car payments left. I owe $180 left on my car, which is nice. I'm glad I won't have to be making that payment soon. Right now, the bank owns that car. Once I pay off that final 180, probably later this month, then the car's mine, because they lent the money initially to the dealership for the car, and then the bank had me pay them with interest, and they made a profit. That's how bank loans work.
They keep that title, don't they? They keep the original
I know there's a bunch of bit messages, by the way. I'll get to them in a little bit.
title until you pay off that debt. And then you can reclaim that original copy, that title to that vehicle. In essence, this is the same exact formula they are using with the birth certificate. With you, they're borrowing money on your trust account, saying that you're the guaranteed income on paying back these loans that they're generating.
That doesn't even make sense, because you get paid for your labor. You don't necessarily get paid fairly for your labor, but the excess of your labor doesn't go to, like, China or something. The excess value of your labor ends up going to your boss's 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 boss and to shareholders, because the excess value of your labor is taken in as profit by the company. That doesn't go to the government.
And borrowing from. But the problem is, you never get that title, do you? You never get that access to your trust account.
Because it doesn't exist.
Even though they're making millions of dollars off you.
No, they're not.
Borrowing millions of dollars in your trust account. But they never get that title to you. You never have access to that trust account. Why is that? Makes no sense. But I can tell you one thing. You can. You absolutely can. You can gain access to trust account. You need to file a lien against the title using an affidavit of obligation. This is done every day. Banks file liens all the time.
Yeah, but here's the difference. When a bank files a lien, let me give you an example. Let's say I owed money for some loan other than my car loan. Okay? However, I do owe that money to the bank, and let's say I don't pay for some reason. The bank could then put a lien on some of my property, like the car, or like my house, or whatever, something that's collateral. A lien basically says, this person owes us money, we're going to tack this on to the value, or we're going to tack this on into the debt of some collateral that they own, and then if they don't pay off this lien, we are going to possess that thing, or you're going to go to jail, or we're going to sell the debt to a debtor, whatever. Like that's not how that works. They can do it legally because they have an actual legal debt that they are trying to service through said lien. If you go around and start sending like legal liens to people when you don't have the authority to do so because they don't actually owe you money, that's a felony. You are basically stealing from that person. That is a felony. Do not commit felonies. Not a great idea.
The Department of Commerce.
A lot of sovereign citizens do this, by the way. Marcel Basset threatens liens all the time. Tons of sovereign citizens will threaten to lien your property because it's just paperwork to fill out, and then they can do so. And in the past, some of them have gotten away with it for a little while. And let me clarify, a little while, because a lot of the time they didn't just check up on this stuff because they didn't think anyone would be stupid enough to fill out paperwork that's, documented and would provably show, oh, you committed a felony. Here, it's right on this paper, But these people are sometimes delusional, so they do it anyway. And the Fed has actually been cracking down on this because sovereign citizens have started to become a problem with the internet. The internet spread a lot of this ideology to people who don't know any better, or who choose not to know better because it's convenient for them to believe this stuff. So, yeah, they've started cracking down on this because it unfortunately happens more often than it should, and people end up getting, notices in the mail. Oh, I've been liened. Who's liening me? What? I don't know, them money, and then you gotta go get a lawyer, get that dealt with, have that person hopefully arrested, or whatever. It's just a pain in the ass. So don't file false liens. Felony. Don't do a felony.
Secretary of State to prove and establish all property and value of whatever it is at stake, that they own it. Do you want your title back? Tell me. And I will discuss everything in my next video on how to properly file for these things and gain your trust account, access to it, and eliminate all of your debt and be able to take out this $1 to $3 million.
Oh, it's 1 to 3 now. I've heard 2, but I guess it varies. How do they determine who gets 1 million and who gets 3 million? Chat, do you think I have a $1 million account or do I have a $3 million account? I hope husbando federal government has decided I'm worth $3 million.
Or it could be worth more. It just depends on you.
Trans folk are worth more. That's true. We're rare, like shiny Pokemon.
Alright guys, later.
Well, that's interesting. That was a video from 13 hours ago. So, we'll be looking back at this guy, I'm sure, in the future. Quite interesting.